That's kind of how we got in this whole business. Just the idea that like the things you carry with you actually tell a story about you, and you can actually tell a lot about a person based on that stuff. And I was just like, oh, what a cool idea. I'm Ryan Coulter. I'm the founder of the James Brand. I'm also sort of in charge of the brand and sort of all creative aspects of what we do. Yeah, I mean, Huckberry has been our biggest, our first wholesale partner. And so before the James Brand even launched, I saw, I think, the very first Huckberry email. And I went through it and was like, those people are our people. You're speaking to who we want to speak to. So we've been, great partners ever since. I mean, that was 10 years ago now.
Nice. And now you're in the Gear Lab in Austin, and you're ready to take us through your EC.
Yeah. Let's see what's in there.
Yeah.
A wipe. I need glasses all the time, so there's almost always a wipe handy. This is from our Rain collab from a couple of years ago. AirPod Pro, noise canceling. Mine says poop on it because my kids thought that would be funny. iPhone, super boring. Handkerchief. This one's from my good friend Aaron Draplin from DDC. I used to make fun of people that carried a handkerchief every day. I was like, that's superfluous. Why do you do that? But I always have one of these with me, and I use it all the time. This is my wallet, and it's modular. Like, it comes apart. You can get different panels here, but I just loved how clean and minimal it is, which is very much part of our ethos. And I was like, look, it just looks super simple. So this is a Christmas gift. So far so good with that one. Other things, there's always a lot of pens in here, at least 3 at any given time. I'm really hard on pens, and so I carry things like this Uniball Micro, which I've used for years, and then I fill up notebooks full of notes and sketches. And this little combination is like something that I've carried for decades. This is a really important sort of duo for me. So this is my pocket knife. This is the Chapter 2, which is the second version of our very first product. I love this knife just because it's so simple and clean and small. And we first introduced this 10 years ago. And when we did, there just was not a lot of stuff like this out there. This is a thing that was a sketch, that then became a project, that then became a prototype, that then became a startup, and that now is a small business. But it all started with this. So, it's always with a little bit of nostalgia and pride that I carry this, because it's like, this is literally where we started. I'm ashamed of this bag, I have to say it, because this bag is old, but it's because I'm very picky about bags, and like anything, when I figure out what works, I just stick with it forever. This is an in-case bag. I love it. I love the in-case brand. I know a lot of people that work there. So let's see what we have in here. This is our notebook sleeve called the Gate Clip. This is a new version that we just did that comes with these little RE Ranger Eye patches. So this is a cool product, something we just introduced a few months ago. In there, again, I have another notebook. I have a pen. I always keep stickers around. And this is where I put like my travel stuff. Personal, don't look at it. Sunglasses, I have blue eyes. I have sensitive eyes, so I always carry lots of sunglasses. This is a collaboration that we did with Rain a few years ago. That was really cool. These have this green lens that was actually a reference from these Randolph Aviator greens. I've always loved Randolph Aviators. I think they're the best sunglasses in the world. If there's anyone out there listening, pick up my emails, give me a call. We got to do a collaboration. You guys are the ones, and they just won't respond. I don't know how. If anyone knows anybody, let's talk. But I just always loved the look of these, really from the right stuff. And as a person who was a pilot, I just thought there was such an interesting, American-made aesthetic. Chargers. No one cares about chargers. Not even me. Except, I forgot about this one. This one's interesting. This is a little charger that's actually designed for pilots, and this is actually some pilot navigational reference stuff on here. The cool thing about this battery pack is that it has the built-in cords. I hate cords. I will always hate cords. And this thing does wireless charging, so you can just plop this guy on here and it will charge that, or your phone, or whatever. But it's by far like the coolest battery pack there is. Water bottle. Gotta have a water bottle. I'm supposed to drink that twice a day. I hate to get all weird about it, but I feel so much better by just drinking a lot of water. This is the book I'm currently reading. I really like to read physical books. I like the way they smell. I like sort of visually knowing like how far along you are in something. So this is a cool one. Just came out, kind of about the history of the Challenger accident and the report and all that stuff. So I'm kind of a space nerd, aviation nerd, so I'm into that stuff. Emergency drawer, Advil, cleaning wipes, headlamp. It's kind of crazy how often you can use a headlamp. I don't currently carry like an EDC flashlight, but I would if we had the right one. Maybe we're working on that. I don't know. You know, more notebooks. Can't have enough notebooks to go with the pens. Postcards, because I'll do something like write my kids a postcard today from Austin and like drop it in the mail. So I'll get home and then they'll get something from Austin from me, which is a little bit like Back to the Future, you know. Computer, standard issue, not worth talking about. Stickered up by my kids, so it looks like it was done by kids. An iPad Pro with stylus, which I also use a lot. I think the entire exercise and the things that you bring with you, whether they're like on your body or in your pocket or in your backpack, is a really interesting thing to think about because it's just highly curatorial. Like you have to make these decisions about like what is it worth to actually buy and carry with me. And so anything that makes it, you know, especially in my pockets or in this, is something that I generally need fairly often. Things that I don't use that go in there come out. There's kind of a lot of stuff in here, but in reality, like this is my whole office, but I can take this kit anywhere and do almost anything. You can like parachute me in anywhere. I'm like, sure, I can get around. I can work. I can, you know, prevent myself from getting a sunburn. You know, I can do a lot of things with the things that I carry around with me. I'm a pilot, and you know, in addition to like my daily stuff that we just went through, there's like a bag of stuff that you have to carry with you. So I brought that along too, because a lot of people may not sort of know that or sort of see what's in there. It's kind of interesting. So here's some of the things that kind of come along with that. I know they're competitors, but they're really not. You know, they're Portland guys. They make great stuff. You gotta have a Leatherman. You know, you need a lot of our stuff, but you also need a Leatherman. This is a Garmin InReach Mini. So it's a communicator, that satellite communicator, in case I end up landing somewhere and like need help. This is a radio, in case the radio in your airplane stops working and you need to like call a tower or something, and that does happen. I've had to use that before too. So you got a radio that you can use to actually get a hold of everybody. Sunscreen, talked about that before, really important. You know, I'm pretty pale. The sun is like my nemesis, so good to have some of that in there. Protein bar. That one has been in there for a long time and will probably stay in there for a long time. But if I'm like crashed in the backcountry someplace, I'll eat it. It'll be fine. Tire pressure gauge, always good to know like what the tire pressure is like in your airplane. Airplane keys, no one can copy those, it's fine. More backup glasses, just like I said, because I can't really see well without them. So there's glasses everywhere. I just kind of like litter them about. Headset, you know, you've seen pilots wear these. These are made by Bose. This is a Bose A20 with noise canceling, but it just basically makes everything else go away. And you can hear exactly what controllers and other people are saying. But fundamental part of your kit, you always just carry this around with you. Headlamp again. Eyewear, pens, you know, there's a theme in here, things that are important to me. This is a Sentry sort of GPS communicator, so this basically connects my iPad, which is where all my software is, to the GPS network, and so I can get real-time weather, moving maps. You know, the iPad is the most important part of like navigational equipment inside your little airplane these days. And what you have coming through this in an iPad is far better than what pilots had, you know, in 747s just a few years ago. It's kind of amazing. So this is a really important thing because it basically connects your iPad even when you don't have Wi-Fi or cell service, like to the network. Logbook, always fun, very analog experience, and a backup map. So when the iPad dies and the little charger isn't working, it's good to have an actual map so you kind of figure out where you're going. So good to still have that. And then a logbook. Most of my logbook is actually physical these days, but you know, the FAA is still a fairly old school organization, so there's a lot of paperwork that I actually have to keep in here. But generally, this is the stuff that I keep in that bag when I fly. And so I fly various airplanes, and so you just kind of carry that bag around, and you can just hop in and go. Fly with anybody else, hop in, plug in your headset. You've got the radio to help out if you need to. Just another interesting sort of frame around the idea of daily carry? Like, what's the stuff you need to bring with you? So I've not historically been a watch guy, but like sort of being in this realm, like more and more I've kind of become that. And partially just because it's impossible for me to ever look at my phone and just figure out what time it is, because there's 35 other notifications and flashing and beeping. So I got this to kind of be like, hey, practice what you preach. If you want to know what time it is, have a watch and know what time it is. This is our latest collaboration with Timex. We're doing this with you guys too. It's all titanium. It's a GMT, which means that it tracks different time zones, 200 meters of water resistance. It's super durable, but just a beautiful piece with a really great movement, fully automatic. We don't make watches, and I don't think we ever really want to make watches, but we did get to design this one from scratch with them. We kind of earned that right with them over time. And so this is really kind of correct for the James Brand consumer, I think, for James personally. People ask about like our mark all the time. We're like, oh, is that a fox? That's a cool fox. So this is a Clovis Point arrowhead. And every product we've ever done, like from the Warwick to the Gatecliff, the Chapter is the only actual exception. They're named after projectile points, after arrowheads, which are named after the places that they're found. And it's the idea that knife as an original tool was really useful hundreds of thousands of years ago and is actually still really useful today. And I've always was, really just interested in that concept, because so many other things, even other things we make, may well get digitized away into nothingness. But as long as you're going to be operating in a real physical world, you're going to need a knife to do the dividing of things. And that concept to me, I think, is really interesting. James is sort of this muse. And it was kind of an amalgamation of, people like James Dean or James Bond. It was not Jim or Jimmy, it was James, like someone that was worthy of respect because they'd actually put in enough time to get good and well-versed in a lot of things. People ask me all the time, are you James? I'm like, no, I wish I was James. I'm trying to be James. We're all sort of trying to be James. It's a call to action, for us to kind of live a bit more of a connected, disconnected, analog experience, and actually use things like this to get out there and live. So that's who James is. I'm not James. I wish I was James. I will always be trying to be James. I will die not being James, but actively trying to accomplish that. I'm Ryan Coulter from the James Brand. Until next time, we'll see you out there.